septic tank. They clean it and thoroughly inspect the system to ensure it's working at peak efficiency. Call Express Septic today at 765-9478. That's Express Septic, 765-9478. Express Septic. We'll be headed your way in a hurry.
Hello. Welcome back to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We have Laury and Dave Chandler in the studio with us today. So let's continue on with your guys' journey to health. So you guys were talking about starting out resistance training like 3 years ago. So let's go ahead and tell us more about that.
Well, yeah, Shawn, you started to say resistance training. The older you get, you got to worry about your bones, your ligaments. And one of the things that I tell people is, listen, if you've not been in the gym, first of all, take it very slow and find someone who can train you. That's really, really important, because I see a lot of people in the gym will hurt them. They'll go out in a week, they're going crazy, they get very, very sore, and then you never see them again. So that's what we really did. But I'm the type of guy that I have to have goals in front of me. And after about 6 months and really beginning to see some results, had to change your diet. I made the radical idea of hiring a trainer, getting on a team, and getting into competitive bodybuilding. And 60 years old, that's like, what? And that's where I met up with Todd Scott, my trainer, and got on his team. And that really, he took me to the next level. And I love to say, he and I have a love-hate relationship. There are days when I walk out of our sessions, I call Laury and say, I really, really do not like this guy. But anyway, I do. He's a very good friend. But it's that idea of I wanted targets in front of me. I wanted to be able to push myself. And now it's just, so that's a part of our life, competing, watching our diet. But it was that, I want to back up, I was in pain after that surgery until I started weightlifting. And after about 3 months of weightlifting, I realized one day the range of motion was back in my body and the pain was gone. I mean, I have not had that pain since then, and literally doctors had said, well, that part of your life's probably over. It's taking care of your body, it's training, it's moving. Find something that you're going to do and move and stick with it. Set goals that are achievable. Get somebody to help you, whatever it is, if it's, resistance training or bike riding or something.
Well, so if you don't mind me cutting you off a little bit,
no.
I appreciate you telling us that. And basically what I'm hearing from you is, and this is what I like to tell patients and tell anybody, is a body in motion tends to stay in motion.
Yeah.
A body at rest tends to die.
Yeah.
And basically that's what the doctors were telling you. And it is so fortunate that you didn't listen to them. And, you kind of gave away your age already. So what's your exact age?
I'm 62. I'll be 63 in April.
You're looking amazing. And you are an inspiration to us. And what's incredible about that is that we themselves. And, they don't listen to standard conventional medicine, because if you would have, Laury, you might not be speaking with us today. You'd probably be speaking with us today. Well, you'd be with us today probably, but you probably wouldn't be speaking with us because you guys wouldn't be in great health and be an inspiration to everybody else. And I'm just glad that you let us use you to encourage others.
Yeah.
Speaking of a coach, go ahead, Laury.
Okay, well, Dave has a coach, and I get to join in sometimes with them. But for me, one of the things that has helped me is, I mentioned earlier about consistency, and I have some other issues in my life that make me tired, and sometimes I just really don't feel like working out. But the fact that I have a workout partner helps keep me committed to that, and I get that encouragement. And so I would encourage you, if you are thinking about going into resistance training, get yourself a friend or a spouse or somebody who can be an encouragement, but can also, you're going to let them down if you don't go, so they can help keep you accountable that way. And so I appreciate that about Dave letting me be his workout partner, because even though he's doing the heavier stuff and the more intense bodybuilding stuff. We're still workout partners, and we still keep each other going.
That's great. And about a little over a year ago, Janet and I started doing that with our biking, and we started working out together. And there's probably some love-hate relationship there some days. Although I gotta admit it, my wife does not complain. She is a coach's dream for sure. Never complains. She just does her workout. But it holds both of us accountable. I mean, for sure. And speaking of accountability, you talked about a personal trainer or a coach, and that is one thing that can really help hold us accountable, because it's hard to disappoint other people. At least, usually we don't like to. So I know I have a mountain bike coach, and he checks my workouts and sends me workouts every Monday. And I know if I don't get them done, he's going to see them, and I'm going to, he's great about it. I mean, and very inspirational about it, and encouraging, and understands that, daily life, gets in the way for sure. But yeah, have an accountability partner. Just on that same subject, I think that goes along all with life. So you're eating too. Yeah. I'm sure you guys encourage each other with your diet too, and you try not to, you stay away from junk, and you stay away from other things that you probably shouldn't be eating too much of, just because you hold each other accountable. Correct?
Oh yeah, we make fun of each other at the grocery store if we see each other reaching for junk.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest. I have a weakness for junk food. That's one of my weaknesses. And
potato chips.
Oh, I can eat a whole bag.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we largely just don't buy them, because
Lays, you can't just eat one.
Yeah, right. I would eat them all. And it really, and this is really in other areas of our life, whether we're trying to get healthy from exercise or diet, or trying to lose weight, or we're trying to be a better pharmacist, or a better runner, a better biker. Hang around people that are good at those things. And I call it the proximity principle, and that is not original to me. There's actually a book out there about it, Proximity Principle, from Ken Coleman, I believe, through Dave Ramsey Solutions. Yeah. Wonderful book. It's more about business, but it goes to our private lives too. If you want to, stop drinking or drink a lot less, then don't hang around people that drink a lot. Yeah. I mean, that's just really, really truth. So, Proximity Principle, we'll put that in the show notes too, so you guys can look that book up. So bodybuilding, you competed, and how long was it, Dave, until you did an actual show after you started lifting weights?
So I had lifted for about 7 or 8 months, and met with Todd, and I got his permission to tell this story. The first time I met with him, I could see in his eyes he wanted nothing to do with me. My age, was not a gym rat, but he was talked into giving me a shot, and so I started working out with him. I've been working out probably 9 months. I started working out with him in December a couple of years ago, and he said, "We're going to do your first show in April." And so he introduced me to the life of diet. In bodybuilding, 80% of bodybuilding is diet. It's not the weights. You can lift a ton of weights. It's diet.
Let me go on that. I think that's I'm a competitive mountain bike racer, and it's diet. So much of it is diet. You cannot exercise your way out of a crappy diet. No. Go ahead, Dave.
So, he sets my diet. And so you have not only somebody who has set my workout regimen and knows when I'm cheating, but I can walk in our times together, and he can look at me, and I've learned, I'm not going to lie to him anyway, but I've learned I'm still going to lie because he can pick it up. And, just last week, because I've been kind of off, I took the summer off, needed to get some other things health-wise, I had a couple of health challenges, had to work through, it's hard to diet on those. I'll compete again in April 2 or 3 times this coming spring. I walked in last week, he looked at me and he said, "You're fat. It's time to get on point." And
hey, we need people like that.
Yeah.
I wish.
Where's the sugar, baby?
So my kids and I have 2 boys, and they are just amazing. I mean, they are incredible athletes in themselves. I mean, they work out 6 days a week, and they are just ripped and not short like me, tall and buff. And we kind of have an unwritten rule. I told them, I said, "Look, we're going to hold each other accountable, all right? So
they're brutal to you."
Yeah. I said, if I get fat or you guys get fat, we're going to tell each other. We're going to say, hey, Dad, you're fat. Just tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have, and of course I've got my wife. She's been more diet oriented over in our married life than I have. I mean, I was a meat and potatoes guy, just I had to have potatoes with everything. I'm not really a sweet lover, but if it's there, I'll go for it. But my diet was not the best. It really wasn't. It's all about diet.
Correct.
And I did not realize that when I got into competitive bodybuilding. It's diet, and it is a mind thing. People have to understand it's all in your mind. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
And 62, I don't feel 62. I mean, in the morning, my ankles tell me I'm 62. But Laury and I just decided we were not, age is inevitable, I know that. But we were going to not be those people that were not mobile going. I mean, I'm okay with living into my 90s, but I don't want to be, in bad shape. And this is not a diss to those that find mobility a problem right now. We just decided we're going to be proactive. And so I owe a lot to Laury because she's a lot better on the diet. I used to laugh at her and go, yeah, whatever. But when you're paying a coach, and he's in your life, and you have your wife as a workout partner, you're held accountable, and that is really true. My dad used to say, all our dads, have those sayings, you are who you become, who you hang out with. You become who you hang out with. I hated that when I was in high school because, the guys I hung out with, no mention of any names, Dale Roth, but anyway, but it's really true, and it's true in life now, and you mentioned it earlier, and so having my wife as a workout partner, and we have other people we work out with, but she was in the diet long before. But getting somebody who understands, so we have a dietitian who can look and say, this week you're going to eat this way, a couple of weeks you're going to eat that way. So it's just it's setting a plan and sticking to it. You don't have to be a competitive bodybuilder or a competitive bicyclist or mountain biker. But do something, move.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, if there's one tip, there's so many different diets out there. And I will say this, you need to find out what works for you.
Exactly. Different body types.
Right. Different body types, different exercise.
Yep. Exactly.
My twin brother, Shane, and we have motivated each other and competed with each other for, 48 years since we were born. And we debate a lot about diet, and of course he's a bodybuilder. He's not an endurance mountain bike racer.
Yeah, it's a totally different diet.
Totally. Yeah. And so we still get in fights about carbs and, I don't need carbs. I said, of course you don't need carbs because your idea of a cardio workout is 30 minutes on a treadmill.
Oh yeah, 20 minutes.
Where your maximum heart rate's 109.
Yeah.
My idea of a workout is 5.5 hours on a mountain bike where my average heart rate was 155.
No, I do cardio. I hate cardio. The coach will say, okay, I need you doing 30 minutes of fasting cardio in the morning. Nothing worse than fasting cardio. Your body literally starts eating itself.
For sure.
Because there's nothing there. That's the point.
Yeah, burn the fat.
And you're just sitting there and, I'll try and watch a TV, a news or some stupid thing. It's totally different. And people come to us and they'll say, well, what's your diet? Tell me what your diet is. And look, there's a dozen people on our team. All of us have a different diet. Right. My diet's totally different. Her diet's different. But we cut out the junk. We eat very little processed food. We pay attention. Now I'm getting back in contest prep, so
yeah, and I would imagine your cardio will step up a little bit before contest. And don't you increase carbs right before? Well, before you get on stage, correct?
Yeah, there's a real science to bodybuilding. We have a high protein, complex carbs. We're eating simple carbs. It's a fairly simple diet, and we eat a lot. People look at me and go, boy, you're just not eating that much. It's hard to get the meals in. Well, I'm eating 6-7 times a day.
Right. And here's what the difference is you're eating real food. You're eating whole foods. And I will tell patients and I will tell anybody this about diet. If you want to start simple, just think this. Whole foods diet. And what that means, if you want to know if it's whole food or not, if it does not rot Don't eat it. I mean, think about that. If it doesn't rot, don't eat it.
Exactly.
So that's basically staying away from processed foods. And they are so calorically dense.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just easy to eat and overeat because you can just, there's an unlimited supply of them in your freezer or in your pantry. So you got to be careful about that. Yeah. So think about this, though. If fungus and bacteria will not grow or eat the food,
why are you eating it?
Then why should we be eating it? And think about what kind of nutrients our body is going to assimilate with that. If because part of our digestion process has to do with bacteria, or a major portion of it is bacteria. So if bacteria can't even process that food, then what's it going to do in our body? How much nutrients are we really going to get from it?
Yeah. Well, and that's really true. Simple carbs versus complex carbs, but empty calories is what we're eating. And so again, people say you're starving yourself. It is difficult to get in all the meals. Talk to anybody competitive bodybuilding, probably in competitive mountain biking. When my coach steps up and says, "Okay, this is the amount you're going to eat," it's insane how much I eat. And then once in a while, he'll trick us and throw a cheat meal at us or cheat day, and I hate him. And because go out and eat hamburgers, go out and eat pizzas. You do that, and there's a real science. It just your metabolism goes wacky. Yeah. And your body literally will look at those pizzas and stuff, and you can feel your body going, "What are you doing to me?" But there is, and so there's real science. And sure, when we get close to competition, a couple weeks out, we pull the carbs away. And then a few days before, we reintroduce the carbs to get the muscles pumped up.
Oh, right, water. Because carbohydrates pull in water.
Carbohydrates pull in water, so
make it look bigger. Yeah, correct. I will tell you this, I follow a lot of different mountain biking, racing podcasts and cycling podcasts. And of course, bodybuilding and endurance training is probably about the two most opposite things that you can do. Yeah. But I will tell you this, in almost all those podcasts, the speaker will talk about, if you want to know how to get big and lean, talk to a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And it's totally true.
Yeah.
So we are getting ready to go into our next break already. So you're with Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Has anybody told you about Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Monday is Veterans Day, and we'll honor all those who have served in the armed forces. I'm George Norrie, and Daniel Brinkley will be our special guest to help us thank our veterans. And later on is Armageddon shaping up. Richard Austin joins me on Coast to Coast.
It's the best in overnight talk radio. Coast to Coast AM. Tonight at 11 on KBNC.
Your home's windows should be energy efficient and good looking. So in looking for new windows for your home, Milgard windows are clearly the best windows and doors for the Grant County area. And the installation window experts at Columbia Glass are ready to help. Milgard windows come in every operating style for every application. You can also choose from a variety of patio door styles in every combination that will enhance your home. So visit the showroom today at Columbia Glass at 1607 West Broadway in Moses Lake.
This fall, Giza Credit Union is offering a certificate special to be thankful for. For a limited time only, enjoy a 7-month certificate account with a rate of 1.47% APY. Now that's a rate worth celebrating. Stop in at your nearest Giza branch or go online to Giza.com to open your new certificate account today. But hurry, this special won't last long. APY equals annual percentage yield of $500 minimum deposit is required for consumer, IRA, and business certificates. Offer valid for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply. Please visit Giza.com for details.
Our goal at Confluence Health Gastroenterology is to provide you with the highest quality care in the country, close to home. Whether you have heartburn, liver disease, or just need a colonoscopy screening, our team of 9 highly trained and experienced gastroenterologists are dedicated to addressing your individual needs. Our physicians trained at top-notch fellowships from across the nation to include Stanford, Harvard, University of Washington, University of Michigan, Northwestern, and Walter Reed Medical Centers. They enjoy serving the genuine and hardworking people of Central Washington and are dedicated to keeping you healthy. When you have GI-related issues, go to the team that's trained to give you answers and devoted to serving our community. At Confluence Health Gastroenterology, we will treat you like the good neighbors you are. Call us today at 509-764-6400 to schedule an appointment, or visit us at confluencehealth.org.
Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We have Laury and Dave Chandler in the studio today. And remember, open phone lines. Any questions? 509-765-1470. Call in. All right, Laury, we got a question for you. So, we were talking before the show, and you were talking about some diet changes you had because you are made because of Hashimoto's. Tell us a little bit about Hashimoto's and the dietary changes you've made.
Well, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease. It's your thyroid turning on itself, and Hashimoto's makes you very tired. And it can happen in your life. You know, there's different reasons. Inflammation, of course, is what all autoimmune diseases have in common, but it can be introduced to your life sometimes through trauma. And I believe that's when I got it, was at the car wreck. It was very traumatic, and I believe that's when I got it. But it doesn't really matter when I got it. The fact is that I have it, and so it makes life very difficult. And I actually wasn't diagnosed with it until just a couple of years ago, and which was nice to know. Once you find out if you have it, then you can address it. And so I was taking some supplements and doing various things and trying to keep my hormones balanced, and that's always a great thing, especially as you get older. But I finally got to the point where I decided I needed to do something different, and that was with diet. And I put it off because, none of us like to make those tweaks to our diet if we are comfortable. But I decided to go on the AIP diet, which is the autoimmune protocol. And there is a website that you can get on and research. It's called Autoimmune Wellness. And they talk about different studies for different diseases and how this diet helps them. And it's quite restrictive, but I already am feeling better. I haven't been on it very long, and I'm really being disciplined. And I love the research that has come out that says that a lot of these people who are doing this, they are much more energetic. They reduce the inflammation in their bodies, and they're just healthier.
That's a great story. So, yeah, we have at our pharmacy, at Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy, we have quite a few patients with Hashimoto's disease. And like Laury said, it's an autoimmune thyroid disease. So basically your immune system attacks your thyroid. And your thyroid helps maintain your metabolism, energy, mood, things like that. So if that's not working, obviously you're not gonna feel great. So, and like many autoimmune diseases, and I'm just gonna tell you, there's a lot of diseases that are autoimmune related, even if conventional medicine doesn't say so. Like many autoimmune diseases, it can be diet related. So a couple of them, I can name off the top of my head. Asthma is an autoimmune disease. Arthritis is an autoimmune disease.
And dairy just kills those two.
Yeah, exactly. It's inflammatory. So before we go down the road of thinking that we need a pill or $1,000 drug to fix our problems, let's think about diet and exercise first. I mean, Laury and Dave in the studio here are great examples of how if they would have went the conventional medicine route, they would be on drugs and had multiple surgeries, and probably one of them at least would probably be walking with a cane. And I see that in my office quite often. Not so much anymore because we have really tried to encourage patients, and we have more of a health and wellness model. So we have a lot of healthier patients, and we encourage that. And you speak of hormone balancing. Hormone balancing is a part of that. Next week, we're going to have Dr. Glenn Hoey. He's a naturopath, and he specializes in hormone balancing. So we'll go into a lot of that detail next week.
That's great.
Yeah. So how long have you been on this diet, and how are you feeling so far?
Well, to be honest, it's only been a week, but I've been researching it for a while, and I already have noticed inflammation going down in my body. My knees feel better. My body feels lighter. It doesn't feel as toxic. It's just hard to explain, but I just feel more relaxed, and I do feel a return of energy. And actually, I've been eating a lot, but I've lost a couple of pounds, which is great. And I think it's going to be a great thing. I'm willing to try anything that's good for you. I'm not willing to try drugs and that kind of thing. And so my opinion is, why would you stick with the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet? Why would you stick with that and be in pain and keep getting worse and more arthritic or more debilitated, and spend more and more of your hard-earned money on drugs. Why would you do that versus being a little disciplined versus not living quite so much mainstream?
Well, let me tell you why, and that's why we had you guys on the show today, is that there unfortunately is some people don't realize they have the power to change that. And I blame our medical system on it. Our healthcare system, it likes sick people. It doesn't, it likes sick people, it likes surgery, it likes drugs. And believe me, this is coming from a pharmacist. I understand the system. And that's one of the reasons that I have this talk show, to get information out there, to make people realize that they have a choice in this.
Isn't that the standard American experience? Go to the doctor, be prescribed, be pushed more medical care. I mean, I can tell you instances throughout my whole life. You need more of this, you need more of that, you need this, you need that. And I've just always been, no, I don't want it.
Yeah, that's what made us change our model in our pharmacy. And my wonderful wife, Janet, and I, we've been doing it for over 20 years now, and we changed our model about 17 years ago when we realized that we were enabling patients to stay sick. So a patient that was on 20 different medications, and they had all these diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, like you were saying, their knees hurt, they had all these arthritic problems, and really in reality, they just need to lose weight. They need to change their diet, they need to lose weight. And we felt like we were enablers. We were like accessories to the crime. So that's serious, and that's when we made some changes, and we're like, you know what, we are going to try to promote more health and wellness and teach patients that they are empowered. And a doctor...
I love that about you guys.
Thank you. And a doctor is just a teacher. Should be just a teacher, not a prescriber of drugs, but a teacher. And said, and I have a weight loss journey myself. In 2009, I lost 60 pounds. And I wish, to tell you the truth, I was kind of making some tongue-in-cheek comments the other day about my kids calling each other out when we're fat. I wish a doctor would have told me, hey, Shawn, you're fat. You need to lose weight. Oh, but that wasn't the case. They want to put me on blood pressure medication. They want to put me on high cholesterol medication.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you, 10 years later now, I guarantee you I'd still be on those drugs, and I would feel like crap and not be any healthier. And that's what some people don't think, is they think, you talk about the standard American diet. And we talk about all these great drugs we have, high blood pressure drugs, high cholesterol drugs to treat heart attack and stroke, or to prevent heart attack and stroke. Guess what? It's not working. Yeah. The number one killer of Americans is cardiovascular disease. That is more than combined with cancers, car wrecks, anything else. It is cardiovascular disease, and being a healthy body weight is probably one of the best ways to prevent that. And the standard American diet, not working. No. So let's change it. So I'm so glad you guys are on the show to inspire people about that. So Dave, you had something to add?
And again, it's not a knock on doctors, but it is a system, and we both have been in it. It's a system they get stuck in, and frankly, they're trying to cover their backside, and so they're willing to prescribe because we're in a liturgious society, and we're in a society that people don't want to hear the truth. And so so my hat's off to them, and I feel a bit sorry for them, But having said that, I also applaud you and other medical professionals that are willing to stand up and say, okay, there's a different way. But we were talking to a medical professional, and he looked at me and goes, now, are you on statins? And I said, no. He goes, how old are you? And at the time I was 60. He goes, 60. He goes, you need to be on statins. Why? Well, you just need to be on them. But I'm looking to myself going, no, I'm not going to do that. And so it takes personal responsibility. There's the key, personal responsibility.
And for those of you that know, statins, atorvastatin or generic Lipitor, that's a real popular one. My wife likes to call them vitamin statin because in the conventional medical system, everybody would be on a statin. And statins are to help lower cholesterol, and that is one of the markers of cardiovascular disease, albeit it's a topic I could talk about for hours, but I think a small marker. I think cholesterol is probably more of a marker for inflammation and maybe lack of hormones, but that's for a whole nother discussion. But here's what I got to say about the statins. And you know, I'm going to say it too, Dave. This is nothing personal against doctors, nothing personal against nurses, nothing personal against pharmacists. I get it. It's a system issue. So this is not personal at all. And that's one of the reasons as a pharmacist, Janet and I are standing out and saying, look, it doesn't have to be this way. Here's what I find interesting about the statins is that, you know, almost everybody's on them now. And I use that very loosely. But yet cardiovascular disease risk is going up. More people are dying of heart attacks. Okay, so it's not working. No. It's not working. And so there's more to it than just taking a pill. So speaking of the system, Dave, I know that you have a history in politics, and I know you love to talk about politics. So speak of the system and speak of government intervention in healthcare and what your thoughts are.
What a wreck. What a wreck. Here's my personal opinion, and I'm going to get on my horse until I'm told to shut up. Take responsibility for your own life. Anytime the government's going to give you something, they're going to take it away. And I'm one of those guys. I want to make the choices for my own life. I don't want a doctor making them for me. I want to make the choices. And so I'm alarmed at we're going to have the government who can't listen. They can't even get a diet right, okay? They're the food pyramid that should have been thrown out. I've got a pet peeve. Can I get on my pet peeve?
Go. This is yours.
You know, this manufactured meat, laboratory meat, is anybody looking what's in that stuff? It is going to kill you. And they're marketing that as a healthy alternative. The sodium content is out of this world, and the chemicals are the same in lighter fluid. People wake up. It's just crazy what our government is allowing to go on. So would I want them in charge of healthcare? Oh, absolutely, Lord, no. So there I'm on my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I really trust your opinions. I know you have a long history of politics, and one thing I want to discuss is that, you know, unfortunately, Dave, you said you don't want them in healthcare, but they are in healthcare.
Yes, they are.
70% of all healthcare dollars are government dollars, whether it be state or federal. That is an alarming number. So when we hear about Medicare for all, if we think the system is messed up now and the government controls too much of it, what's going to happen when Medicare when the government controls all of it? So that's what scares me now. We do have options. Dave talked about it. Consumers are the drivers, all right? Consumers in the driver's seat. Consumers, you, the patient, has options, okay? And I am writing a book about this. It's called Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare and How to Fix It.
Sounds great.
It is a great book. It should be out here in December. I'm looking for a Christmas release, and it'll be out in Kindle on Amazon. And then we're going to go to a softback or hardback cover. So, but I think what people need to understand is the government is not the answer. And with traditional health insurance, I'm just going to say this, and it talks about this in my book, traditional health insurance, whether it's employer-based or whether it's privately based, you buy it yourself, is government insurance. Yeah. Now, let me tell you why that is. It is so highly regulated that they are told what to pay and how much to pay for it. So there really is no such thing as private healthcare insurance anymore, okay? But there are options, all right? And that's one of the reasons you will need to read my book. You can go to my Facebook page or the Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare Facebook page, and you can get the free chapter to kind of get an idea of what the book is about. All right, so how do you want to face this up? What do you guys want us to know about you and inspire people?
Well, I would just like to say that if you are sick and you are tired and you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, like Shawn said, there are other options. And I think you guys would be a great place for people to start and talk to. And, you know, like I said, we love you guys. And there's a lot of people around town that aren't necessarily the mainstream pushing all of the drugs and all of the other things. And, you know, talk to us if you want. We're available. We'd love to talk to you. Shawn and Janet would love to talk to you. There are a lot of people who aren't mainstream who are trying to feel better, look better, act better, be healthier, and I think you ought to explore some other options.
Dave,
take responsibility for your own life. There it is. Whatever it is you do, whether you're, but take responsibility. Don't give power to anybody else. And I think that's where we're gone in our life. We decided we could make the choices, and you can do it. Whoever you are, you can do it. Whatever condition you're in, you can do it. You can do it.
Thanks for inspiring us, encouraging us. I really appreciate you guys being here. So, I want to talk about your bodybuilding show. You got a bodybuilding show coming up in April. That's 5 months, Dave.
Yeah, April. Yeah, I'll get serious with the diet here. I'm supposed to be getting serious, but start January.
You need to start getting serious about the diet.
Yeah, you heard my coach. Yeah, he's got me holding off on real serious, but about 16 weeks out, we really get crazy with it. But yep, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So what does that start like? When will you start cutting for your diet?
I'll start cutting. I'll start really serious in January for an April show. Because my age, I need about 16 weeks.
That is one thing. As we age, as you know, one of the most important things is recovery.
Yes.
Recovery is more important because we don't recover as fast. So this is another show of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. I appreciate Dave and Laury Chandler coming out today.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. It was our pleasure for sure. So next week, do not miss out. We have Dr. Glenn Hoey. He is a naturopathic physician from East Wenatchee, and he specializes in helping patients with diet and exercise, and he's a model in himself. He walks the walk, talks the talk. I think that's important when it comes to healthcare. And he will be with us, and he also specializes in hormone balancing. So you do not want to miss next week's episode. And please, if you have any questions, send it in on our Facebook. Shawn Needham is my personal Facebook page where we stream it. And you can also watch it on YouTube, Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy YouTube. And as always, there are open phone lines. This is a live show, so do not be afraid to call in 509-765-1470. We would love to answer your questions. And at that, I think we're going to wrap this show up. If anybody has any further questions, please let us know. Well, it looks like we have a few seconds left. So I am going to talk about next week. Let me tell you a little story about Dr. Hoey. It'll be episode 7, and we appreciate you guys listening. And Dr. Hoey I've been working with him through our pharmacy for over 10 years now. And he is a model of health himself. He's a naturopathic physician, which if you guys don't know what a naturopathic physician is, he will give you more details on that. But one of the things a naturopathic physician works on is, naturopathic. So natural meaning he works more on holistic and diet stuff and how disease is related to a lot of diet. Another term for this can also be, maybe some of you have heard the term functional medicine. We are going to eventually have a functional medicine provider on our show and talk about functional medicine. And basically what these providers work on is fixing the problem, not just treating a symptom. So work at fixing the problems, not treating the symptoms. Send in your questions. We appreciate you listening to their show. And once we wrap this up, Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham.
Your house has everything you